It's looking like Meta is working on its next venture in smart technology, and it's something that could well have some ramifications on the gaming scene, as these are said to be gaming gloves and smart garments for use in VR and AR environments. What is this groundbreaking new tech? We'll be letting you in on all of the details as the video progresses, so be sure to stick around to the end. What is Meta? I keep hearing the name, but where did it come from? If you're only vaguely familiar, you might be curious as to why a company called Meta is suddenly making the news rounds on a regular basis. Well, Meta is still largely better known by the name that it used for decades, and you've definitely heard of it. It's the company formerly known as Facebook Inc. Yes, it's the company owned by Mark Zuckerberg, which, after coming under heavy fire and scrutiny due to whistleblower leaks for a lengthy period, began a rebranding process in 2021. Nowadays known as Meta, officially trading as Meta Platforms Inc., they are a multinational tech conglomerate. They still operate Facebook, of course, but also own Instagram and WhatsApp. They have other assets, smaller yet useful for sure, the most significant of which perhaps being ownership of Giphy, an online database and search engine that lets users find a small looping video that is similar to but technically distinct from animated GIFs at a higher than average quality, essentially letting people put short videos into the database with the same searchable and findable convenience and volume that you might expect from an image board. Another very unique acquisition of theirs is the Oculus brand, most famous for the Oculus Rift, a line of VR headsets. Though the Rift was discontinued in 2021, Oculus is nonetheless dedicated very much to advancing VR and AR tech, and their more modern line is called the Quest. The latest of this line is known as the Meta Quest 2, showing that the group behind Oculus hopes to incorporate its work more and more into being a core part of their brand. That is quite relevant to today's video, given what Meta are currently said to be working on, because according to patents currently filed, they are looking to make a new generation of wearable tech for AR and VR. What is this tech going to look like, and what are the advantages? The idea seems to be something akin to a gaming glove and other such articles of clothing that would help boost the experience of immersive virtual reality. This happens as more and more people start to explore the growing field that is VR gaming, which every day seems to be making more strides in accessibility and what is possible in this genre. It's thought that devices like this could help usher in a new way of experiencing these virtual worlds. Meta has, after all, been quite vocal about the desire to come up with more creative and intuitive ways to allow users to make use of VR and AR to enhance their everyday lives, and this is in tune with recent developments. In fact, it was just earlier this year that they showed off a unique prototype wrist controller which was developed after acquisition of the brain-computer interface company CTRL-Labs in 2019. And yes, apparently, that's a thing a company can be. They do work in the field of brain-computer interface exclusively, and in 2019, CTRL-Labs made the lofty claim that they would have neural interfaces working within 5 years. It is, of course, to say an interface that you can control with your mind, and no, I'm not kidding. This is really something people in the tech industry claimed would happen as early as 2024. That's just 2 years from now, so I guess we'll have to see on that. But these people are sincerely dedicated to the cause of turning science fiction into science fact, something that seems to be the driving force of technology these days. That prototype wrist controller that we speak of looks like little more than an odd toy wristwatch. The design is still pending, obviously, but it is said to be capable of extensively tracking minute movements in your hand to allow you to, for example, control a video game character. So I guess it's going to try to do today what the power glove of yesteryear could not. Speaking of which, the patents include drawings of wireless gaming gloves that could be used to both send and receive haptic feedback, theoretically used in tandem with a VR headset. Another potential idea that the patent filing speaks of is some kind of special set of AR glasses with antennas built into the frames. That doesn't sound too stylish, but the drawings only show the theorized inner workings of the device, so it's hard to say for sure how it'd come off. But either way, AR glasses seem like a decent step up in comfort from the headsets that have become so popular. Of course, AR is easier to pull off than VR, so going full-on virtual reality with a light pair of glasses is still not quite a reasonable expectation just yet. And indeed, a wrist-mounted device similar to what Meta has been showing off is another one of those patent filings. It shows that they aren't so much focusing on one specific control option and giving consideration to many different controllers, which would be nice for accessibility. The wristwatch in particular, if it's as powerful as advertised, could allow for great breakthroughs for those who are, for whatever reason, incapable of using typical controllers. Someone who has limited use of their arms but can still wiggle their fingers could still use that controller with relative ease, at least in theory. The easier these things become, the more accessible they are. At least that's the way it should be, right? The benefits of something like that go beyond gaming, though certainly it can make games easier to play for everyone too. What's more, the more of these kinds of devices exist, branching out from merely having the headset alone, the more immersive these things can become when used in tandem. A gaming glove fitted with haptic feedback could, again in all theory here, give you the sensation of holding a sword and swinging it in the midst of combat, all whilst eyeing down a dragon that genuinely appears to be sitting across the room from you. You know, just kind of a thing. One thing is for sure, as AR and VR become more common, users will ultimately be expected to use more than just the analog sticks and buttons that we've become accustomed to get the most out of the technology. This patent is but a glimpse into the future as we inch ever closer to a full-on gamer bodysuit. One day. What other strides are being made in the world of virtual reality these days? Ladies and gentlemen, I have just one word for you. One conjoined word mind, and one that you probably won't find in a dictionary, but one word all the same: smell-o-vision. That's right, people are still looking to make that idea into a reality, and there's a group of people in Stockholm that say they've successfully created a machine that can allow you to smell the environments of a virtual reality. Researchers and developers at Stockholm University and Malmö University have put forth an invention they call an olfactometer, which does just that. It's a simple gaming console that was tested with a sort of wine testing minigame where players could try to smell the wine and would receive points for correctly guessing which vintage they were whiffing in this little virtual wine cellar. So how does it work? It uses 4 valves, each one connected to a channel. There's a fan used for sucking air in the middle, and with the help of a computer, the channels are opened to different extents, allowing various scent mixtures to enter the nostrils of the user. People do tend to veer to the extremes when it comes to this idea, and indeed, there's a lot of stuff out there you probably do not want to be smelling, but there's no doubt that scent is part of the immersive experience of feeling like you're truly out there somewhere. Incidentally, the design of this sounds a bit reminiscent of a similar device that made the headlines 2 years ago, which strove to simulate different tastes. This one was created by a Japanese researcher and effectively made use of 5 different gels, which each corresponded to the 5 main tastes: salty, acidic, bitter, sweet, and good old umami, and mixed them together to create flavor profiles that could effectively mimic the taste of real foods, tricking your brain into thinking you're tasting something that isn't really there. One day, this full-blown immersion really will happen, with sight and sound long since triumphed, haptic feedback allowing you to simulate touch, and now smell and taste being slowly conquered. We'll all be living in Second Life one of these days. And that is all the time we have for today's video. Are you intrigued by the technological advancements that AR and VR have made? Do you expect new tech such as the wristwatch or gaming glove to be everything it's cracked up to be? Or are you just worried about the future of your DualShock right about now? Don't worry, it's not going anywhere. Sony's not ditching that design for anything, it seems. Be sure to let us know your thoughts down in the comments below, and until next time, thanks for watching.